Quando Sam Raimi apresentou ao mundo A Morte do Demônio, provavelmente não imaginava que o filme se tornaria um clássico absoluto do cinema de terror e que, no futuro, influenciaria diversas gerações de diretores. Um deles era o até então desconhecido uruguaio Fede Alvarez, que havia viralizado no YouTube em 2009 com o curta Ataque de Pânico. O projeto chamou a atenção de alguns nomes da indústria, entre os quais estava o próprio Sam Raimi. A princípio, a proposta de Raimi era transformar a história do curta em um longa-metragem, mas o projeto acabou não evoluindo. Foi então que Fede Alvarez, de forma ousada, apresentou a Raimi a ideia de fazer um reboot de sua obra mais clássica. E o lendário diretor adorou a proposta. E assim, em 2013, chegava aos cinemas a nova releitura de A Morte do Demônio. A trama acompanha Mia, uma jovem com problemas de dependência química que aceita a proposta de um grupo de amigos para se isolar numa cabana remota na floresta, na tentativa de combater o vício. Mas ao encontrarem o Necronomicon, o Livro dos Mortos, o grupo acaba despertando de forma involuntária uma entidade maligna que agora está em busca das almas deles.
Vocês vão morrer essa noite.
Embora Sam Raimi tenha apoiado desde o início a ideia de alguém revisitar seu clássico, Bruce Campbell, que interpretou o icônico Ash na trilogia original, a princípio, estava relutante com a ideia de ver outro ator assumindo o seu papel.
We also made a major decision to have none of the original character names in the movie. There's no Ash character, and that was a big issue with a lot of fans of, well, if Ash isn't in it, then it's not an Evil Dead movie. It's like, yeah, it is. It's just it's a different generation, and we don't want the same anything. I don't want some guy trying to imitate my overacting performance. You know, why bother? Leave the guy alone. So all the other actors now in this movie get to create their own thing. And Jane Levy, by the end of this, she's taking this movie, you know, by the shoulders, and she's screaming at it in the face. She's taking this movie over. So if people want to call her the new Ash, I say do it. She's earned it.
Ash is such an iconic character. We didn't want to mess with that. We wanted to build something out of the blue, something real new, with new characters, and leave that Ash character, which I think it can only be played by Bruce Campbell. So I think it was a smart choice to leave Ash where it is.
Groovy.
E a substituta de Ash na batalha contra os demônios seria a personagem Mia, interpretada por Jane Levy. E apesar dela não ter sofrido tanto quanto Bruce Campbell, a atriz também precisou enfrentar seus próprios desafios.
I was so freaked out in that audition. I was so nervous. I really wanted the part. But Bruce was the one who, like, immediately after our very first audition was like, do you know what it feels like to get buried alive? Do you know what it feels like to have a tube down your throat? Do you know what it feels like after the 16th hour of work and you're covered in blood? Do you really want to do this? What's your stamina? Have you ever played sports? And I was like, yes, I want to do it. It sounds so good. Cool.
Começando por um exaustivo processo de maquiagem.
I think what how Evil Mia looks is so awesome, and it's just like immediately iconic to me. Like, I don't know why, I've never seen it before, like this girl in a slip with all the thorn cuts and like the burns. It looks, I mean, it's scary as hell, but it's sort of amazing. So that took forever. It was like a long process, like so many steps and layers and layers and layers. So an important step in becoming Blood Rain Mia, is my abomination burns. So this is gonna be one of the handprints, which essentially goes on like a temporary tattoo. I mean, it's pretty gross. It's definitely a burn, but I sort of think of it as like a pizza burn. Ta-da! Ta-da, ta-da-da. It's pretty nasty. And then a little bit, Claire will put in some 3rd degree, which makes it shiny, and some pus.
I think that he's always ready to go. He's a sport, and there's nothing that he's gonna say like no. He's gonna ask for more in every take. Like, if And it doesn't matter what happens to the characters, he's really ready to take it and to do another take and really keep going for it.
E a atuação de Jane foi fundamental para criar uma personagem tão impactante diante das câmeras.
And for this one, Jane, instead of those scream at them over your shoulder, just like on action, you just turn around completely so we can see your wounds and all the cuts and all the scratches that are on your body. Outside. Scary. Stay there, Jane. Stay aboard.
But we had a day of just Jane going bananas in the cellar, and we just put the camera there, zooming in on her as she goes crazy and she tried different things and different things that the demon is going. It's just like we have a sneak peek of what's going on in the cellar with Mia. I think the shot is probably 5 minutes long, and she doesn't stop. Until the end, probably in the minute 5, she goes like, please can we cut?
You feel crazy. I feel nuts, sort of. I think my favorite shot so far that I've ever done is having the cameraman flying through the trees on the zip line and me laying in the mud and running. Like if I didn't do it right, a camera would hit me, but at the same time, I wanted to give you that fear. One of those scenes, I was crying and I was freezing, and someone had just put on muddy underwear and rubbed mud in between my legs and down my legs and in my arms and in my hair, and dip your hands in mud and pour blood in. And I was miserable and I was crying and I was running down the hill, and they were like, Jane, you're not hitting your mark. And I shouldn't even tell this story. I looked at the cameraman and I was like, I fucking can't see anything. And then I ran into a bush and cried some more, and then I went up to him and I said, I'm so sorry. But I couldn't see anything. But again, it works. Mia wouldn't be able to see anything.
You're right. Thank you.
A mamãe não ia gostar de ver a cabana assim.
O principal cenário do filme original e do reboot é a cabana isolada na floresta. Para dar vida a essa locação de forma aterrorizante e funcional, toda a estrutura foi construída do zero pela equipe de produção.
For Sam, Bruce, and I, there were very few things that were sacred that we felt had to be portrayed in this movie. Perhaps the force in the woods, the cabin in the woods. Those are some of the things that are iconic from the first movie that we wanted to give the fans because we thought they were very strong, positive elements.
We find our woods, and we built a cabin in there. That was also a decision since the beginning. We want a real place. We didn't want to do it in the studio. We wanted to have a real cabin in the woods and make sure that our characters go there, they find the cabin, and also for the actors, it's such a good experience to go there, be in the place for real, look around, see this wood that looks amazing and it's really scary, and be in a real cabin in the real woods.
The cabin in the way that we needed to have it working for the movie. We needed to build the cabin outside so we could have the cabin in the woods, and we also needed to build it inside so we could shoot a lot of the dramatic work, and the heavy prosthetic servicing is more suited to working in the studio. Initially, to do the cabin, there's a problem because you're dealing with a multi-level set. So you have the cabin, then you want to have the basement underneath with the stone room. So we came up with another solution. Then we would lift the set up, and that would give us an elevator set with the basement slipped underneath, or part of the basement, and give us the contiguous thing with the stairs going down for as long as we wanted. And then we'll lower it down again, surely for the ease of working.
Não faz isso, vagabunda, não corre!
Buscando manter a conexão com os filmes clássicos, o diretor Fede Alvarez priorizou as maquiagens e os efeitos práticos, utilizando o mínimo possível de computação gráfica.
One of the things that Fede wanted to do when he came aboard Evil Dead is he wanted to do the prosthetic gags, the arm chops off, the eye gouges. He wanted to do those practically on set using old-fashioned makeup appliances like we did on Evil Dead, and kind of a throwback to a different era. And I instantly respected that.
It was something that we knew they wanted to do since the get-go in this movie, that he wanted to do everything practical, you know. It didn't want to do any CG thing to get a gore and scare mom. So in every big horror set piece and very painful moment, everything is practical because nothing beats, you know, practical.
It's very scary and it's very creepy sometimes for the actor, but at the same time, you get moments where it's, all of them, they cannot wait to get to those scenes. Like all the actors there, they're like, can we go again? Can we do it? And all that. It's just so crazy and outrageous, and for them, it's such a particular experience. You don't get vomit in your face every day. So it's something that I guess they're all looking forward to experience when they get to this.
It's really real stuff coming out from her mouth. It's really Jane's mouth. It's really the stuff that's going on there. And so it was pretty violent for them too, because we put the actor through all those tubes and stuff. And yeah, it's pretty tricky.
The throwing up on Olivia was my least favorite thing I've done in my life. I think I hated doing that, and it made me cry actually. Like after I did it, I walked off and I just felt like I was going to hell for real because I had done something so horrible.
What happened to you?
I can't even tell you what that feels like. Just watch Jessica like almost drowned is like the scariest thing in the world. Are you okay?
So how you felt?
I survived. Barely.
Ela tentou me matar.
I've never had to do a head cast, and I actually was quite apprehensive going in because I hear that people who are claustrophobic, it can be pretty intense, and it was kind of freaky though. I mean, you get covered in this goop, and there's just a tiny little air hole for your nose, and it's about a 45-minute process altogether, and then they kind of crack it and take it off, and you're left with this mold of your entire head.
Oh. Para a cena em que a personagem Natalie amputa o próprio braço, uma dublê foi posicionada dentro do balcão da cozinha. A atriz ficou na frente, conectada à dublê por uma prótese de silicone que unia as duas. Com essa montagem, a equipe conseguiu criar de forma prática o efeito em que a faca elétrica parece atravessar o braço da personagem, quando, na verdade, ela corta a emenda da prótese.
The prosthetics and the rigs and everything are just kind of mind-blowingly amazing. I love that Fede is trying to do everything here with prosthetics and with the rigs and not with CGI. It just makes it so much, I mean, for us, it makes it so much easier from an acting point of view when you're actually like chopping off an arm rather than just pretending with no blade and all that stuff. I mean, it's cool, and there's been blood everywhere and vomit everywhere, and it's just, it adds so much, I think, because it's not this CGI, so the blood splattering, you're like, oh, it's fake. It just gives it such a rawness on screen that's really cool to see.
Entre as cenas mais tensas do filme está o momento em que David decide enterrar a própria irmã viva como uma última tentativa de se livrar da maldição. E o mais impressionante é que não houve truques de câmera. A atriz Jane Levy foi literalmente enterrada viva.
Are you alive? How does it feel? You can knock the door for us? Okay. Who is this? Cool. So if you feel like you're dying or something, just knock and they get it out.
Everybody was scared to death around her. I was trying to convince everybody that, well, she was going to die.
Fede, actually, there's one shot of me with the bag over my head and my whole body's almost covered, and finally the face gets covered with dirt. That was Fede shoveling the dirt on my face.
Is there any restriction where I can put dirt and action?
She was a trooper during the whole shooting in general. But that was a very tricky scene for that. I mean, nobody wants to be buried alive. That's kind of a big scare. That's why it's written in the story as one of the worst ways to die, because these demons, they have to die through one of those ways to really be, free.
Still rolling.
Eu não sei se você reparou, mas nada tá ficando bem.
Apesar de buscar a sua própria identidade, é possível encontrar ao longo do filme diversas referências e homenagens aos filmes de Sam Raimi. E mesmo o nome dos personagens não foi escolhido aleatoriamente. As iniciais dos nomes David, Eric, Mia, Olivia e Natalie formam a palavra Demon. O ápice da redenção de Mia acontece quando ela trava a batalha final contra o demônio sob uma intensa chuva de sangue. E para filmar essa cena, a produção usou cerca de 25 mil litros de sangue falso.
Well, when I read the blood rain in the script, I was just like, that's crazy. How is anyone going to work in that environment? Being a film crew, shooting with just raining, every bit of your gear will get covered in it. On this movie, we're looking at around 25,000 litres of blood. And certainly the volume of blood on this movie is well beyond anything we've ever done before.
Hey, what are we waiting for?
So we really had this huge, massive rig and pumping blood all over the set for that big scene, and it really pays off because at the end it's just like epic.
It was tough, but what we did on location, since it was so cold, is right after we'd finish a take, we'd take an outdoor shower, really hot water, and then they would reset us, and then right before action they'd come over with a watering can and pour red dye all over you, and it was a long process. I'm glad it's over.
I got enough of this.
Dispondo de um orçamento de 17 milhões de dólares, o filme alcançou mais de 97 milhões nas bilheterias mundiais. Seu expressivo desempenho comercial, aliado à recepção positiva de crítica e público, revitalizou a franquia. E, como consequência, em 2023, foi lançado A Morte do Demônio, A Ascensão, e tudo indica que a série ainda terá um futuro promissor pela frente.
Eu libertei alguma coisa maligna.
Bruce Campbell sent an email to everybody on the first day of shooting, and what I remember about the email was that he was saying movies are easy to make are hard to watch, and I guess he's right about that. And this one was definitely not easy to make for anybody.
Se você gosta deste tipo de conteúdo, não esqueça de deixar seu like, se inscrever no canal e ativar as notificações. Nos vemos no próximo vídeo. Até mais!